Hey, Teacher Thoughts here, coming at you with another video. Well, I've got my plant-themed Guardians of the Galaxy shirt. I am Groot. I think it's kind of appropriate for the last, well, it's the last warm day of the year up here in North Idaho. The weatherman forecasts that this is the last chance we're going to get into the 80s, and it's just going to go downhill from here. Tomorrow is supposed to be in the 70s. By the end of the week, by like Friday, it's going to be like 65 and raining, which is, nice because we didn't get a lot of rain here in North Idaho this year. But anyway, I have people asking for an update video about my project to add variegation to firefly petunias. Which, if you don't realize, this is a bioluminescent firefly petunia. So this petunia does glow in the dark, which is really, really cool. First genetically engineered plant that you can purchase that glows in the dark. These are not yet available, or they're not available anymore this summer. They'll be available in the spring again. There's a whole bunch of websites that have them. Light.bio is the website that you can go to find out where they're located. But these are all my stock plants. This is what I've been working on. My main big plant is this one over here. Had this one all year, and it's pretty doggone big. But anyway, with my firefly petunias, I've been doing some breeding work to work with. I had a butterfly in here. So work with firefly petunias and glamoflage grape and crossbreed them so that I can get a glowing plant with these beautiful variegated leaves. And we've had a little bit of success. So I have shown some videos of that. I'm going to show you an update on this tray here. But I want to talk a little bit about what's coming with this project. It's a cabbage butterfly. It's what's been laying eggs in my petunias. So this is my seedling tray of my hybrids. And there's a couple of things going on here that are interesting and a little frustrating all at once. So the one thing you will notice, and I'll point this one out on purpose. If you look at this one, see if we can zoom in. There is a regular petunia on one side and there's a pure white petunia on the other. Now, those pure white petunias have used up all of the food in their cotyledons, which means that's as big as they're ever going to get. They're not going to get any larger. There's no chlorophyll in that plant. And chlorophyll are those little things that you looked at when you were in high school or junior high in the plant leaves, and they explained how photosynthesis occurs and that it occurs in the chloroplast. So there's no chlorophyll in the chloroplast. So these plants are only living off of the energy that's stored in these two individual leaves, which is the cotyledons. So this is a dicotyledon. So it had two halves to the seed. I do have some that had three portions to the seed, but that's kind of a mutation. So these are not going to get any bigger. However, you can see some larger ones in here. Like this is the one that we're watching, because if you look really close, this leaf apparently has some faint variegation to it. So in other words, it has some cells out here that lack a lot of chlorophyll compared to what's in the center. Let's use the cliche pointing tool. So on this outside margin, there is not a lot of chlorophyll, and there's a lot of chlorophyll in the center. So you can see a faint yellow on the outside and a green in the center. So this one I'm watching, I'm hoping this will get larger and have more variegation to it. There's some others that might have some hints to it, but the real question is, what do we do with these ones right here that are all white? Now, I have reached out to Plants in Jars, which is a fellow YouTuber that does tissue culturing, because I'm pretty sure we could tissue culture these and get these large enough that we can do some other horticultural processes to help this plant out. Basically what I want to do is get these large enough that I can graft them onto a larger petunia. Now, they wouldn't take the place of all of the green plant material, but just a branch or two. And that way you can have a pure white section grafted onto a green section. Now, with this, grafting here to here would be almost impossible. That's like micro grafting, something I don't have the tools or facilities for, but we are going to try later on in a video. We're going to take some of these and poke some holes in some stems. Suggestion of a viewer, but it was also something I was thinking about too, and seeing if we can graft these as is onto some existing plant material to see how that would react and whether or not we could get it to glow. Basically, or grow. We basically want to give this energy, this white one energy, so that it can grow, because it won't glow as is. It needs to be doing metabolic processes to glow. So it needs to be growing, which it's not right now. So we need to work on that. The other thing that has occurred in here is I had some rogue unwanted plants. So like this here, that's not actually a petunia. That's a thistle. So if you look at the leaves, they got little points that are coming out. Let's get this over where you can see it. So that's a thistle. They got little points along the margin of the leaf out here. So those are not ever going to be glowing because they're not the right plant. And I had several of them that came up that I had mistaken, here's another thistle, for my firefly petunias. So this was a little bit of contamination in my seed tray. So those get removed. And once we do that, really, it means we have a lot less green ones than we thought we did. So 1, 2, 3, I think that's a bad seed too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we only had 17. We only had 17 seedlings that actually were green. And the rest of what you see in here, like this right here, that is a weed seed. So those are going to come out. There are some other interesting things that are going on, like this seedling here. This seedling here has a lot more branches to it, and it's on one single stem. So something's going on with that one. That's a mutation of some kind. It shouldn't have that many leaves on it. It's kind of growing crazy, whereas these seedlings here are growing normally. At least the green ones are. So we're going to work on that. So that's what we're gonna work on today. Is we're gonna go ahead and try to do some micro grafting. It actually might be tomorrow because I've got an issue that's popped up. This has been a very enclosed environment, so I don't have the predators that are feeding on aphids and the caterpillars. So I've actually got to go through and do some insect control. So I've got a spray for the caterpillars and I got a spray for aphids, but I got to do that tonight when it's dark. So because of that, I don't think I'm going to get to these videos maybe today. So this is just going to kind of be an update. I might work on them, but I'm not going to video it because I got those things going on. So that is an aphid, and they are really rapidly reproducing right now. And firefly petunias are rather sensitive to aphids, so they just kind of die spontaneously. Well, they die from aphids, but they die really, really quickly. So I need to get that under control. But yeah, I'm going to go through and try to do some micro grafting. I had my variegation that I'd come across earlier this year. I don't know where I set it, but it's in here somewhere. That plant went dark, so I had a variegated one that was glowing, that was a natural variegation. It went dark, so not going to be working with that. And it wasn't a super fantastic variegation, so if I find it again, it's in one of these square pots here. I will show it off. But yeah, that's an update. We're still working on the breeding work, but we need to do some aphid and some caterpillar control. I've been finding juvenile caterpillars again, and they're going right for the buds of the plant rather than the blossoms, which is causing a problem because that will take out any of my blossoms I need to work with this fall. But I figured I'd give you an update there on where we're at as far as the firefly petunia seedlings. I may start another tray of seedlings too, see if we can do that. It's just going to be a numbers game. You know, how much seed can I plant to whether or not I get one that has the variegation I'm looking for. And I do need to grow them out a bit. But remember, we're in a 6-foot by 8-foot small hobby greenhouse. And that means if I grow a tray, it takes up like 2 square feet of bench space, so it eats space up rather quickly. But anyway, I figured I'd give you a little bit of an update there because some people are looking for that. So there's more content coming. I saw that y'all really liked that slug video. If you haven't seen it yet, I test the copper tape versus aluminum tape and just some regular Mylar on how the slugs and snails react to that. Very surprising reaction. So if you haven't seen that video, go ahead and link that. And then if this is your first video that you're seeing on Firefly Petunias, please go back and watch the watch list. I'm probably going to create a separate playlist or watch list for the variegated petunias, since that's kind of its own project in and of itself right now. But anyway, I thought I'd give you a little bit of an update. Maybe I will haul, I think I'll haul the main mother plant out so that you all can get a look at the size of that. But other than that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. Thank you very much for subscribing. Yes, we are getting a watch page. We're just waiting for final approval from YouTube and Google, which they said it can take a month. So it in fact may be first part of November, but we'll see. But yeah, we're gonna keep going with that. Keep working, keep updating. But I figured you want to kind of see where things were. So if I hadn't said it already, as always, I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed. Ag Teacher Thoughts out.